Ritankar. Okay, so today we are going to start our unit 3. Okay, so if you have any query from unit 2, as it is finished already, you can ask now. Is there any problem from unit 2? Other than the last class, I have uploaded all the classes in the YouTube channel as well as it is shared in the college LMS. So those who have access in LMS, they are getting the link. Those who don't have access there because of their roll number, they can get it from the YouTube. But other than the last class, all classes are uploaded already. So those who are newly admitted in this college, I am requesting them to listen all those classes. And if you have any query from there after listening the classes, you can ask. Okay. These are all available in the YouTube channel. It is of with my name, Sritikana Ghosh. Okay. The paper and the date. This is how the units are there. Acha. So market and adjustment. This is our unit 3. Okay. Any query from unit 4? No, na? Okay, fine. So let me continue with unit 3. If you have any query, you can ask anytime in the class. Huh? So market and adjustment. So here we are going to define the market. Actually, what is market? From our 10 principles, we know market is a place where commodities are exchanged, where demand side is coming, supply side is coming. They are interacting with each other with the help of price mechanism. Here comes the equilibrium. And from that equilibrium, we are getting the idea of the market clearing price and the quantity. This is what market that we know. But here we are going to find out how the market is, how there are so many, actually market is not as simple as it was said in the principle. Okay. There are so many, complications inside the market. There are different type of market, different based on the type of commodities exchange. There, the markets are different. So this is how we are getting different type of market based on their particular feature. So in this unit, we are going to discuss all of them with obviously the evaluation of the market. This is also a part of it. So let me start. So this is the first evaluation of the market economy. Some of you must know what is barter system. I think all of you know what is barter system from your history, right? So barter system means when there was no money. It was just at the beginning of our civilization when there was no money. So people are exchanging their commodities. Like one commodity is received, in exchange of that another commodity is given. Okay, so that is how the system is working. So there was no concept of money. But there was a problem of the barter system. The problem is you have to find out the person who has excess supply of the commodity which you demand and who has some demand of your excess supply commodity. Okay, so the demand supply should match. So this is very difficult to find out. It is not so easy. So that is why we need the medium of exchange, and that is how money is, and this is the reason behind the invention of the money. Now initially there was so many metals which was used as the exchange of in the medium of exchange. Then after gold, then after silver, so many things were there, but nowadays it is just a particular metal. There is paper currency as well as the coins, both are available in the market, and it is only the authority of this creation is central government. Okay, other than the central authority, no one can print, no one can create the coins or currency. Fine. So this is the monetary system. Now the benefit of the monetary system is what? You don't need that person, like what was the problem of the barter system? It is solved through the monetary system. Just give your commodity, in exchange of that get the money as the price of the commodity, done. And with that money you can purchase whatever you want. So it is easier. And we are actually far, nowadays we are developed as compared to the monetary system. Now we use the online transaction where there is no such money, right? So we don't need the cash holding. uh, Card is there, debit card, credit card, so many systems are there. Online transaction on, actually there is nowadays there is online money market. So everything is done through internet. No hard cash is required. So we are far, far developed as compared to the monetary system nowadays. Anyway, so this is the evaluation of the market economy. Is just a simple story. Generally, no question is coming from this area. This is just for your understanding. Hmm. Just for the understanding of the history of the market evaluation. Now this is the decision taker. Now this is taken from ManQ. If you have ManQ, you can find it out. It is there. Now it is actually those who had economics at their school level, they are calling it as a circular flow. Okay. So this is a simple circular flow. You can make it more complicated, but just this is the simple circular flow. Look, this is called the farm and this is the household. Basically, these are the two units in the economy. Okay, they are interacting with each other. Right? Household means we, the general consumer, and farm means the supply side. Household means the demand side, and farm means the supply side. Okay, so household is what? Household is buying the final. They are actually the buyer of the final commodities, right? So to buy the final commodity, they have to go to the farm. So farm is selling final commodity to the household. In exchange of that, household is giving price to the farm, right? So this is how this exchange process is done in the market, definitely in the market. So household is demanding the final commodity, which is supplied by the farm. The farm is giving all the final commodities to the household, and in exchange of that, household is giving price of those commodities to the farm. This is first set. And the second one is household is the owner of the factors of production, right? The laborers, capital, land, everything. These are owned by the household, basically. So to produce the commodity, farm needs all those resources, right? Other than that, farm cannot produce. So household is the supplier of all production to the farm. And in exchange of that, farm is paying the price of those production. For example, if farm is taking laborer from the, there is a difference between labor and laborer. Do you know that? Do you know the difference between the labor and laborer? Any idea? What is the difference between labor and laborer? Anyone? Okay, what do you mean by labor?
Labor is work done by the laborer itself.
Yes, you know. Labor means the the effort, the production, and laborer is that individual. So labor, but actually specifically it is laborer. Anyway, so say the farm is taking laborer from the household. In exchange of that, farm has to pay the price of the laborer, and the price of the laborer is called wage. Okay, so farm is giving wage to the laborer. Similarly, if farm is taking capital from the household, then rent is given by the farm to the household. Okay, so this is another circular flow. So one side the final commodity flow, another side the factors of production flow. Now the question is where the final commodities are exchanged. This is the final commodity market, right? In the final commodity market, the final commodities are exchanged between the farm and household. Similarly, in the factor market, the factors are exchanged among the in between the farmers and household. Okay, so that is how markets are coming as a as a mediator of exchange between the household and the farm. So in the circular government, you can incorporate um, financial sector, you can incorporate the rest of the world like export and import. So many things you can do with this, this flow chart. But this is the simplest flow chart, I should say, where we can get the idea that how household and farms are interacting with respect to different commodities and factors of production. Okay. So this is the basic thing. This chart is available in ManQ. This is from ManQ. Okay. So this thing is that. And any problem from this chart? Any query from this chart? Okay. Now individual markets. Individual market means there are so many different types of market are there. We are dealing with those markets. We may not know. For example, if as I said, there are already two markets. For example, this is the market of final goods, where the final goods are exchanged. This is the type of market where you are getting the ready goods, the ready-made goods you will get from this market. There is another market called the factory market, like the labor market, like the capital market, like the land market. In those markets, yeah, in those markets, you are getting the factors of production. Hmm. So this is the raw material market. You may say this is the raw material market. You may get some market where intermediary goods are available. For example, intermediary goods. These are the commodities which is the final product of some farms, but it is the raw material of another farm. Hmm. So it is already produced by a farm, which is used as a raw material by other farm. For example, there may be a farm who is producing flour. Okay, but the flour is used by the bakery to produce the baked, the maybe the bread, maybe the cakes and all this. So this is called the intermediary market. Hmm. Now, how you can differentiate this market? Separation of the individual market. First of all, by the nature of the commodities exchange, you can separate the market. The final good market, raw material market, in the raw material market, the labor market, capital market. This is how the type of commodity which is exchanged inside the market is one of the way to separate those markets. Okay. There is another through the just a minute through geographical location you can do that. Okay. So, through geographical location you can um, separate the market. For example, this is the India market, this is Japanese market. So this is how you can separate with the help of the geographical location. Okay, so basically, one more thing is there. Government is also there sometimes to separate the market. For example, sometimes government is giving the authority to a single firm to sell the commodity in a particular market. Hmm. So that means government is assuring the farm that you can sell in this market. No one will come to compete with you inside this market. Okay, so he can sell whatever he is producing inside this particular area. So this is how the market is separated through the government policy. So this is how you can separate the market. After separating, the next thing is how you can interlink those markets. Interlinkage is always already said. For example, the intermediate market. The final product of one farm is considered as a raw material of another firm. Hmm. So this is one thing. Through the through through transport, you can interlink. For example, how the Indian market will get the commodity from Japan. You have to transport them, right? So through the transportation, you can interlink. Okay. So this is how, look, these are the basically the story, the different angles of analysis of the market. Okay. Now different market that may be important for your exam. Now different market based on competitiveness, you may get the different market. For example, there is a market called perfectly competitive market. In this market, there are a lot of buyers and sellers. You cannot count how many buyers and sellers are there inside this market. Okay, lot of infinite number of buyers and sellers are there. And obviously there is a competition. If you want, you can enter. If you want, you can leave. There is no barrier. Hmm. And as it is a large market and you are very insignificant as a single individual, you are very insignificant with respect to the market size. So that is why you have to, you know, mm, you have to accept price which is determined by the market. So you are a price taker. Okay. So this is a type of market. The products are homogeneous, this and that. So we will discuss. Actually this is an unit in unit 3, same 3. So there we will discuss about the perfectly competitive market. Okay. The other side of the competitiveness is zero competitiveness. Hmm. The another extreme of this thing is zero competitiveness. That means you are the single seller. And if you are the single seller in the market, you are called monopolist. Okay. And that market is called monopoly market. Okay. So in the monopoly market, you are the single seller. So whatever price you want, you can charge. Actually, it is not. Depends on the elasticity of demand and so many things. Anyway, so you are the only one who can cater the market. So the mixture is also there. Perfectly competitive, monopolistic competitive market. This is another type of market. Oligopoly market. This is another type of market. So different competitiveness are there. In case of oligopoly market, you cannot enter freely. You cannot leave freely. There is a barrier. Hmm. And basically, in the oligopoly market, there is competition. Um, the competition is coming in of to sell the commodity. Obviously, sellers are competing to get the market as much as possible, and advertisement is one of their instruments. Okay, in case of monopolistic competitive market, this is another beautiful market, I can say. It is a mixture of monopoly and perfectly competitive market. Okay? In case of monopolistic competitive market, you have monopoly power over your commodity. You can do whatever you want with your commodity. You can change size, you can change shape, you can change your advertisement strategy. You can do whatever you want with your commodity. But when you are going to sell it in the market, there you get some producers, there you get some sellers who are selling similar type of commodity like you. Hmm. So there you have to compete. Okay. So in the market you have to compete. So there comes the competition. But with your product, you have monopoly. So it's a mixture of monopoly and competition. So that is why this market is called monopolistic competitive market. Okay? So you can understand now, based on different level of competitiveness, we can get different markets. Fine. Now, don't worry about this. Actually, I'm telling it a little bit fast because we will discuss it in details in our SEM 3 and SEM 4. The market is actually the total of microeconomics, I can say, there. Hmm. But this is just an idea about the market, different type of market based on the competitive. Now, the factor market. Factor market, as I said, is this market can get the factors of production. Basically, there are four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurs. So you can find out those factors in this market. by the invisible hand. The price mechanism can work freely there. Okay? So
Excuse me, ma'am. We cannot hear anything.
you cannot hear. Again, that problem. Just a minute. Sorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, is it better?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So factor market, as I said, in this market, you can get the factors of production. Free market means there is no intervention. Intervention means no one can influence your activity. Price mechanism can, is there any parallel sound with me? Can you hear that sound?
Yes,
Some,
ma'am. Like crickets are chirping, that kind of sound.
yes, something is coming out from my speaker. This is also very disturbing for me as well. But what can I do? In the last class, in the same last three classes, I have taken with the computer mic. But now today, it is again creating the problem. Chalo, let me try. Okay, so free market means there is no intervention. Price mechanism can work freely. So you can understand in this type of market, equilibrium can be achieved easily. On the contrary, in the controlled market, there is a strong intervention. So you cannot go beyond a certain range. You cannot charge any price. You cannot sell any quantity. There is a particular range determined by the authority. You have to work within this range. So this is called controlled market. Sometimes this type of market is also needed. And the market and non-market sector, you can understand. Non-market sector means there are some commodities which are exchanged, but not with the, like, the price system is not there like that. For example, the functioning of the NGOs. In case of the NGOs, they are also giving the service to the poor section, to the deprived section of the society. But in exchange of that, they are not getting the money, right? So price mechanism is not working there, but market is obviously there. Once you enter in this market, NGOs are always there to give you the assistance. Okay, so this type of market is called the non-market sector. No such proper price mechanism, no such price of the commodities you can get like all other markets. Okay, so these are the different type of market. Any problem with this market differentiation?
No, ma'am.
Okay, now here we are going to discuss different type of goods. And this is from Mankiw chapter 11 according to my Mankiw. So according to my edition, my Mankiw edition, it is chapter 11. You may find it in the same chapter, types of goods. Okay, so that we are going to discuss here. So again, as you can understand, this table is also taken from Mankiw. Different type of goods. Okay, so here look, there are two characteristics each and every commodity has. The first one is rivalry. Here you have to understand. So try to listen. If you have any problem with my audio, please ask me. I will try, but try to understand. As I said, there are two features every commodity has. The features are rivalry and excludability. What is rivalry? Rivalry means, for example, I am consuming an apple, say. Okay, say I am consuming an apple. That means you cannot consume that same apple. You may consume some other apple, but not that particular apple, right? So that means apple consumption has the rivalry property. Is that okay? Rivalry is okay. I am consuming it means you cannot consume it. This is called rivalry in consumption. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Rivalry. Huh? The another property is excludability. Excludability means some commodities are there whose consumption you can exclude. You can exclude the people from consumption of those commodity. For example, just I'm giving another example. All of you are the student of the Scottish Church College, right? All of you who are present in my class, you are the student of the Scottish Church College of Economics Department. Now, the number of seats in this department is limited. All of you know that it was available in the college website. It is available in the college website. So you can check it. Number of seat is limited, right? So you enter in this college means someone cannot enter here. Is that clear? As the number of seat is limited in economics department, so once you enter inside the department means you are excluding someone from consumption of this service. Is it okay? Because of the limited seat. বুঝতে পারছো না?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is, okay, I'm telling you again. Excludability means this is the commodity who has a particular property. Because of this property, you can exclude someone from consumption of that commodity. So here I am giving you the example of the service of economics department, Scottish Church College. Now, as the number of seats in this department is limited, a student is entering inside this department means some other student, some other candidate, they are excluded from consuming this consumption of this service. Why it is? Because the seat is limited. So this is the property of this service. This is the property of the service of the economics department, Scottish Church College, that the seat is limited. Because of that, you are getting the service means you are excluding someone of getting the service. They cannot get that service because you are getting the service. Okay. So that limited seat is the property of this commodity. The service is a type of commodity. Is that okay?
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you have any doubt, you are free to ask. So there are some commodities who have excludable property. There are some commodities who have rivalry property. So rivalry means what? I am consuming it means you cannot consume it. And excludability means I am consuming it because of some limitation or like that. You are not eligible to consume it. Okay. So these are the two properties different goods or commodities have. Now we are going to see this table. It's a mixture. There are some commodities who have both the properties. That is, they are rival in nature and they are excludable in nature. Okay. There are some commodities who are non-rival but excludable. There are some commodities who are rival but non-excludable. And there are some commodities who are non-rival and non-excludable. So this table is showing this. And based on their characteristics, we can define them. Okay. Look at the first box. The commodities who are rival and excludable, they are called private good. As I said, Apple. I have given you the example of Apple, right? In case of Apple, I have already said it is rival. I am consuming this unit of Apple means you cannot consume this unit. So it is rival. And it is excludable as well because you have to pay a price to have it, right? So if you have the money, you can have apple. If you don't have the money, you cannot have it. So apple consumption has excludability property as well. বুঝতে পারলে কি? না পারলে বলো. If you cannot understand, please ask. I said apple consumption is a type of good. Apple is a type of good who has both rivalry and excludability property. Is that clear? If it is not clear, please ask.
Mom, it's clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you explain once more the excludability part?
Yes. Excludability means, look, if you want to consume an apple, then you have to purchase it, right? It's not free. You have to purchase it. So you need money. If the person has the money, he can have apple. If the person doesn't have the money, he cannot have apple. So through the price of the product, you can exclude the individual of not consuming it. Is that okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So you can exclude someone. You can exclude someone if he cannot pay the price. So excludability property is also there. And if as apple has both the properties, so we can say apple as the private good. Okay, apple as the private good. So it is excludable as well as rival. Is that okay? Private good is very simple. Another example, you have so many examples there. For example, congested toll roads. You know, I hope all of you know what is toll road. Once you want to travel through this road, you have to pay the toll tax. Na? There are some toll plaza. You have to pay tax there. You have to purchase ticket. Then only you can travel through this road. In our locality, there is Kona Expressway. Just after the second Hooghly Bridge, there is a toll plaza. You have to pay 10 rupees, I think. Then after, you can enter the Kona Expressway. Okay, so this is called the toll roads. Do you have the idea of the toll roads? Durgapur Expressway is also toll road. You know now what is toll road?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now, so you can understand, if you pay that 10 rupees, you can go to Kona Expressway. If you don't pay 10 rupees, you cannot go there. So it has excludable property. You can exclude someone. You have to ask that pay 10 rupees. If you cannot, don't go there. So you can exclude someone. So toll roads have excludable property. And if it is congested, then it has rivalry property. You know, congested means so many bus, trucks, cars, so many things are on the road and no one can move. So it is congested. So as so many things are already on the road, you cannot enter there, right? So as they are getting the service of the road for the time being, you cannot use the service of the road. So the road has rivalry property. That congested road has rivalry property. Is that okay? This example is there in your book. I am showing it. Look, it is here. So I'm just explaining why it is private good. Is that okay? Is it okay? Think of it. If it may not be okay, ask me again. No issue.
Ma'am, why there will be rivalry if the road is congested? Can you explain again?
Yes. Congested means there are so many people on the road already. Right? The trucks are there, buses are there, cars are there, two-wheelers are there. So many things are already on the road and they cannot move. That is why there is a congestion. Na? Congested means this. So many things are on the road. And as they all are on the road, that means they are having service of the road. They're on the road. That means they are getting the service of the road. And as there is congestion, you cannot enter there. You have to wait. When the congestion will be over, then I can travel. Right? So as it is congested and as they have already used the service of the road, you cannot get the service at that time. So that is why there is rivalry. They are not allowing you to enter because it is congested. Okay. So rivalry property is there. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. But eventually they will pass, right?
Yes. If it is uncongested, then no rivalry.
Okay, ma'am.
It is also here. We will explain it. But is that okay about the rivalry and excludability of the private good? Any doubt with that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now go to the next box. This is called natural monopoly. Who are natural monopolies? The commodity who are non-rival but excludable. Okay. The commodities who are non-rival but excludable. I am using the same example of that toll roads. That will be easy for you to understand. Now the toll roads are uncongested. Fine. So, as it is toll road, so it is excludable. If you, again, that same property is coming, that if you can pay that 10 rupees, you can use the service of the road. If you cannot pay 10 rupees, you are not allowed to get the service of the road. So the toll road has excludable property. So it is excludable. The toll road is excludable. But now toll road is uncongested. Okay, you can freely move along the road if you enter there. So there is no rivalry. There is no rivalry. One car is going, you can also go. Okay, so there is no rivalry if it is uncongested. So uncongested toll roads, they are non-rival but excludable. Is that example okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Uncongested means I am getting the service, you are also getting the service of the road, because now there is no congestion. We are free to move wherever we want. Okay, so that is why there is no rivalry. Right now there is no rivalry because of uncongestion. Look, take another example. Cable TV. All of you have cable connection in your home. So cable TV is an example of natural monopoly. Why? Look, it is excludable. That you can understand why it is excludable. Because that cable connection, you may have cable connection, you may have that dish antenna, whatever you have. So to have it, you have to pay the price. Okay, the monthly charge is there. So excludable property is there. If you can pay it, you will get the service. If you cannot pay it, the line will be cut off. Okay, so it is excludable, but it is non-rivalry. If you are watching Star Sports, your friend can also watch Star Sports at the same time. If you are watching, say, HBO, your friend can watch HBO at the same time. Same movie, both can watch. Right? So there is no rival. It's not like that you are watching Star Sport means your friend cannot watch in her own home. No. Both can see the same channel at the same time. So there is no rivalry in consumption. But it is excludable because to have the service, you have to pay. Is that okay? Cable TV?
Yes, ma'am.
So if any commodity has this property, it is called natural monopoly. Okay, this is called natural monopoly. Another just opposite to that is called common resource. Common resource has the rivalry property, but it is non-excludable. Look at the example. Congested, untold roads. Okay, untold. So you can understand it is free, just like any NH. Not all NH. If you take the example of the Central Avenue. Take the example of APC Road, AJC Road. These are all in the central Kolkata. So these are all toll free, okay, untold. So no exclusion is there. If you want to go, if you want to get the service of the APC Road, you can get it. No one can stop you. Okay, so this is how there is no excludability. It is free. It is non-excludable, but it is rival. Why? Because it is congested. The road is congested. You know, at the office time, AJC Bosch Road and APC Road and the Central Avenue also, they are Park Street. These things are so congested, right? So as it is congested, if you want to travel it, you have to wait. You have to wait, or you have to go very slow. So there is a rivalry situation. They are using the service of the road, so it is not so easy for you to get the same service. Either you have to go along with them very slowly, or you have to wait. Okay, so this is why the congested untold roads, this is called common resource. Any doubt with that example? Congested untold roads. Yes.
Ma'am, no doubt.
Okay. There is
Ma'am?
another example. Yes.
Ma'am, can you please explain once more?
Yes. So this is the example, congested untold roads. So there is no toll. There is no price you have to pay before getting the service of the road. So it is untold. So as it is untold, so there is no excludability. So this is non-excludable. Okay. No excludability is there. No excludability. If you want, you can go. So many things are doing on this road. Na? You can see. So if you want, you can avail the service of this road. There is no price for it. But as it is congested, so many things are already there on the road. So many vehicles are already there on the road. So you cannot get the service of this road smoothly. You have to wait. Okay. As your friend said, eventually you can get the service, but for the time being, you cannot get the service as it is congested. Right? So there is rivalry in consumption. That is why it is common resource. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Another example is the environment. Look, environment is a very, very commonly used example in that case. Environment is non-excludable. If you want to consume the, wealth of environment, you can use it. If you want to breathe, obviously you want to breathe. So you can get as much oxygen as possible. Whatever you want, you can get it from the environment, right? But as if consider a situation which is very much congested, so you are getting some amount of oxygen from the environment, means your neighbor, it is not possible for him to consume the same amount of oxygen, right? He has to consume some other amount of oxygen. The same thing, he cannot get it. So there is rivalry, but it is non-excludable. There is another example, a common park in your locality. Each and every one of you, I just assume there are some parks in your locality, na? Which is maintained by municipality or corporation, right? So these common parks, who is the owner? Government is the owner, right? And it is free. In the evening, in the morning, so many people are entering there to have their morning walk or evening walk. Children are going there to play, right? sleepers are there, so many things are there. So many facilities are available inside the park. So it is non-excludable. If you want to enter, you can enter, but it is rival because the size of the park is limited. If 1,000 people are entering there for the morning walk, it is not possible. It is just not possible to cater all those peoples by the park, right? So rivalry is there because of the limited size, but non-excludable. This is non-excludable, right? So this is another example of the common resource. If you have any natural water body in your locality, it is also common resource, right? Because it is non-excludable. Ek minute, huh? Hello? Class ache. Okay. So the natural water body, if you have any water body in your locality, that also is common resource because non-excludable. If you want to use the service of it, you can get it. No one can restrict you. But as the amount of water inside the water body is fixed and all, so rivalry is there. Okay? If there is someone who is polluting the water, then obviously you cannot get that clean water as she got. Is that okay? So this is the property of the common resource. Any doubt with it?
No, ma'am.
Anyone else? Anyone in the class, if you have any doubt. Okay. The last one, public good. Another extreme of the private, just extreme, just opposite of the private good. It is called public good. It is non-rival, non-excludable. So it is free of cost. You can say non-excludable means you can say it is free of cost. Okay. And non-rival means everyone can consume the service of that commodity. The best example of public good is national defense. Everyone, we all are getting the service of the national defense. They are giving us the security. We may not understand, but the national defense is giving us the security, right? So it is non-rival. You are getting the security. I am also getting the same level of security. So it is non-rival and non-excludable as well. As a member of this nation, you must have the service of it. So it is non-excludable. Fine. So public good is non-rival and non-excludable by nature. Any doubt with this table? Any problem with this table? Any doubt? Anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay, nothing. Okay, now I'm giving you the idea about the type of question from this table. Generally, a type of commodity is given to you. For example, cable TV. Explain the type of this good. So this is how the questions are coming. Some like cable TV, national defense, which type of goods they are, explain. For each type, there are 2 marks. National Defense 2 marks, cable TV 2 marks, like this. Okay, so you have to take one of these commodities and then explain which type of commodity and the name of the commodity. First of all, the property. As it is, if it is cable TV, then you have to explain, okay, so cable TV is non-rival in nature and non-excludable. Then you have to explain why it is non-rival and why it is excludable. And then you have to say, so cable TV is under the category of natural monopoly. Okay, so this is how you have to give the example. Just an example is given to you, and the question is which type of good it is, or which type of goods they are. Explain. So this is how you are getting question from this area, generally. Or sometimes, what is public good? What do you mean by common resource? That also possible. Okay, but I just assume you can write it. What is common resource? What do you mean by natural monopoly? All of you can give some answer of it. But if some example is given to you or some commodity is given to you and asking that which type of good they are, explain. So there you need to know about the property of rivalry and excludability clearly. Okay. Okay. Now, based on the type of commodity, we are facing some problem in the economy. That is why we are discussing the types of goods. The first problem is the free rider problem. What is free riding? Free riding is coming from, basically it is coming from the public good. It is for the public good. Like public road. In your local area, generally the public road are uncongested, right? And we all are getting the service of the public road equally. I'm just giving you an example. All of you have a road in front of your house, right? In your locality. We all are using the service of this road very much. Now say the authority, the local authority, maybe the municipality, maybe the corporation is coming in your house and saying that we want to, we want to develop this road. For that, we have to spend. So I am asking you to, or I am requesting you to pay some money for the development of this road, as you are getting some benefit from this road. Okay? This is the request from the local authority to the house. Okay? What you will do, tell me. Say in front of your road, in front of your house, there is a road which you are using very much. The local authority is coming in your house and saying we want to develop it. So please pay some money for the development of your road. What you will do? Tell me.
Will not pay, ma'am.
You will not pay. Very good. Why?
Ma'am, because government is making these roads on our money only. No, we are paying taxes, and with that money, the government is making these roads. So why will we pay extra?
No. Look, you say you are not paying the tax. Okay.
Ma'am, that
yes,
is also
then
not a.
we will pay.
Okay, then you will pay. Do you agree with him? All of you are ready to pay for the development of the road?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, that is not a private property. That is a public property, the road in front of my house. So why should I individually pay for the road?
Yes. No, all of your neighbors, they are also paying.
Ma'am, then also it is.
Yes.
Ma'am, then also it is a public property which should be maintained by the government itself, not by us. It's their responsibility and their duty.
Okay. Okay. So, look, generally what happens, If say I'm not talking about the responsibility, I'm not talking about the public anything. Say there is a road, or say there is a street light in front of my house, and the locality is the authority is saying that please contribute some money so that we can maintain the property. Generally, what people are doing, generally people are giving. Okay, generally people are giving the development fees. Say there is no tax. There is no tax as such. So if a government or authority wants to develop something, he has to take money from us. So in that case, what people are doing, generally they are contributing for that. But there is a section of people who are not paying. Not with that logic what you are saying, that it is a public property, it is the responsibility of the government to maintain. No, they are thinking from some different angle. They are thinking that, look, this is a public property. My neighbors are contributing for the development of this road. And as all of the neighbors are paying, it will be developed. Authority will develop it, I know. Once it is developed, who can restrict me to use this road? Right? As it is a public property, once it is developed, I will get the same benefit like my neighbors. So it's better not to pay. So he is saying that no, I will not pay. I am not getting any benefit of this road. I am not going to pay any money, because he knows that even if he is not paying the money, as all others are paying the money, it will be developed. And once it is developed, once it is there, no one can restrict him from using it. Is that clear? You may have this type of people in your locality also. Just try to remember, you can get the name. In my locality, I have. In my friend's locality, they also have this type of people who are always saying, no, I'm not getting any benefit from the public good. I'm not going to contribute anything for it. But once it is available, you can watch, he is getting most of the benefit from it. Do you get the example? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So this type of people are always there, who are thinking that, okay, I'm not going to pay it because all others are paying. And as they are paying, it will be developed, it will be improved, it will be in its new form. And once it is there, I can use the service of it because it's a public good, it's free. In front of my house, if there is a street light and it is broken, and some people are coming, say the government is not doing anything. Because whatever be the reason, government is not doing anything. So some of your neighbors, they are coming in front of your house and saying, look, it is broken. I'm going to change it. We are going to change it. For that, you have to pay some money, say 100 rupees per household. Okay. Generally, people are giving. Okay, 100 rupees, take it. But there is a section of people always there who are thinking that, okay, I'm not going to pay it. I will show that it is of no use for me. Then I will not pay. Okay, I will argue, I will shout, whatever it is, but I will not pay. And once the new light is there on the street light, I will get the service. I will avail the service. No one can restrict me of using it. So I will get the service. So they are called free rider. They are riding free. Okay, they are called free rider. Is that example clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the property. Why they can do it? Because there is non-rivalry in consumption. Okay, you cannot exclude them. There is non-rivalry. This is public good. It is public good. And public good has a property of non-rivalry and non-excludability. You cannot stop their consumption because of the property of the commodity. That is why they are getting the benefit of the property of the commodity and free riding. Okay. And what is the problem? Now, you can ask me, why, ma'am, you are talking about them? Because as they are the consumer, you can understand. They are consumer, they are consuming the service of the public good. But as they are not paying, so the ultimate market scenario is not as it should be. Okay, they should be inside the market system. Their payment should be inside the market system. It should be added with the others payment. But as they are not paying, the true picture of this type of commodity is not coming out. Tax evasion is there, free rider. So many people are there in the local train who are not purchasing the ticket, right? They are free rider because they know most of the people, they are purchasing ticket. They are purchasing the local train. So many, basically students are doing this, but some very handsome people, they are also doing this. Because they know most of the people are purchasing ticket, they are purchasing monthly, so train will be there. And once train is there, who can restrict me not to get the service of it? I will travel. So he is a free rider. Okay. This is because of the nature of the commodity. Look, train is not the public good because by law you have to purchase the ticket. But the situation is such that the public train, the local electric train, it is a public good sort of thing. Any doubt with the free riding? Any doubt? Any query?
No, ma'am.
Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is another problem. This is the problem not of the public good. This is the problem of the common resource. This is another problem of the economy called the tragedy of common. What it is. Look at the common resource. Look, who is common resource? Common resource means there is rivalry in consumption, but it is non-excludable. I have given the example of the local park. Okay. I have given the example of your local water body. These are the common resource. Just consider the example of local park. We are getting the service of the local park. If that local park is in the south of my house, then I am getting full benefit of this park. The air, sunlight, everything is coming because of this park. I can walk inside the park in the morning and in the evening. The children of your house, they can go and play. So all of you are getting service of this park, right? Because it is non-excludable. It is free. It is free of cost. But if I am asking you the question that, are you taking care of this park? Are you taking care of your local water body? The answer will be no. When times come, when it is needed, we are dumping our garbage inside the park. We are dumping our garbage beside the water body. We are doing those things, but we are getting the service of it. How can we do that? Why we can do that? Because the ownership is not defined. It is not private property. Okay, it is a type of public good. Right? As it is non-excludable, I can do anything with that commodity. If I want to take care of it, I can. If I want not to take care of it, that also I can. So that is, as ownership is not defined for the common resource, generally people are not taking care of the property. And that is why after some times you cannot find out the water body, you cannot walk inside the park, you cannot enter inside the park. It was such a rubbish. Okay, so that is called the tragedy of common. It is a property which should be maintained, it should be taken care of properly, and this is how the proper evaluation of this property will be there. This is how the proper calculation of the economic resource will be there. But as you are not taking care of it, you are just ignoring it. When times come, you are just ignoring it. So if you calculate the economic resource of your locality, it is deducted from that list, it is eliminated from that list. So obviously that is creating the problem for the economy. This is called tragedy of common. So any problem with it? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so your problem from this area?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, in this common tragedy, when you said that if like a lake gets like wasted or infected by people only, then it
Hmm.
remains rivalry concept will also not exist after that, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, ma'am.
No, rivalry is also always there. Rivalry is always there. No, after some times it is happening basically with the help of, in case of the local water body, there is a competition that how much I can throw garbage. If I am throwing 3 packets, in the next day you will throw 4 packets. So there is a competition. So rivalry is there, either in the positive sense or in the negative sense. The rivalry is always there.
Okay, ma'am. In terms of throwing waste, okay, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Because
Yes,
the size is limited. The area is limited. This is how rivalry is always there.
So, ma'am, after some time it becomes excludable.
Excludable? No, no, not in that sense. Excludable for all. If it is just like a dhapar mart, so then after it is excludable for all. No one can enter there. You cannot go around this area, na? So otherwise it is non-excludable. No one is there to restrict you of consumption. You can consume. Either from the positive side or from the negative side, you can consume it.
Okay, ma'am.
I don't know how many of you know about the Dhapar Mart. I just given an example. You know, in the Kolkata there is an area called Dhapa Field. It is just the garbage. We are just dumping garbage there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we are in the competition to make our local common resource as the Dhapa area, because no one is there as the proper owner. Okay, so this is all about unit 3. So as it is a little bit smaller in size, so I have finished unit 3 in a single day with 2 classes. And I will start the elasticity, that is unit 4. We have actually unit up to unit 6 we have. So we'll start unit 4 in the next class. Today I am not going to discuss anything new. So if you want to ask anything from unit 3, you are free to ask. We have enough time for discussion. Anything you want to share. If you want to share something in your locality, which you consider as a common resource or natural monopoly, you can share it in the class. It's okay. This is just the discussion portion. You can discuss.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, from this part of economics, microeconomics, ma'am, what type of questions can we expect?
First of all, what do you mean by public good? What do you mean by different type of good? Okay, what do you mean by that? This is one thing. What do you mean by rivalry? What do you mean by excludability? This is another. And in case of the application portion, you may get the question, as I said, different type of example is given to you. You have to define which type of good they are and why. Okay, just take any example from this table. It is given, or some other example is given to you, and the question is which type of good it is. Explain. That much. Or obviously the short note on free rider problem and the tragedy of common. No mathematical question as such. Okay, conceptual question you may get from unit 3.
Okay, ma'am.
Sure. Then I should stop here, or if you have any query you can ask. I'm waiting.
Ma'am, when are the semester 1 exams expected to be held?
No one knows.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Maybe in the January or by February, max to max February, not after that.
Okay, ma'am.
Because it's a series of exam, internal, tutorial, then the final theoretical exam. So many things you have to face almost over the 1 month. So it's a 1 month program, and after all those exams you will get 7 days break, and then after sem 2 will start. So we don't know actually, but within very short notice the exams are coming nowadays. So we expect not in December at least, because admission is still going on. So January end or February mid, like this. Not after February, I think. I think so. This is my view. May be wrong.